What do emotions, logic, wants, needs, what do any of those have to do in determining whether or not you're successful as an entrepreneur? Listen to today's podcast episode. I'm going to drop some knowledge that you're going to want to not miss out on. I spent the last few years building a successful online business while learning from some of the most brilliant marketing minds and coaches on the planet. And now, I've walked away from that business to start over again from scratch. Why? Because, like you, I felt the calling of contribution and the all-consuming need to create a business giving me the freedom to put fatherhood and family first, while fulfilling my calling to share my expertise in order to serve and impact others in a positive way. Join me now as we walk the path together to create the life and business of our dreams. I'm Evans Putman. Welcome to the journey of the profitable, purposeful entrepreneur. What is up, profitable, purposeful entrepreneurs? I was just on another podcast today, Marketing Siege Radio with Marty White. Definitely go check it out. It's a great podcast. I was lucky enough to be interviewed by Marty, good friend of mine, and also a member of the 2CCX coaching club that I'm in. And while we were on this podcast, something clicked in my brain, and I sort of had to somehow set it in the back to remember it, because I was like, ooh, I want to share that with my podcast listeners. And so here is what I wanted to share that's going to give you some great value. It's something that I have to remind myself of regularly. But here it is. Stop trying to sell people what they need and start selling them what they want. Let me say that again. Stop trying to sell people what they need and start selling them what they want. And here's why I thought of that. While we were on this podcast, we were having the discussion about logic and how, I don't remember the exact story, but Marty was telling a story about being in a group, and one of the other fitness professionals in there was using logic, all these big, scientific words, and it made total sense. It was logical, but it wasn't getting across to anybody. Because the thing is that people do not make decisions on logic. They justify those decisions on logic. The majority of people will make purchasing decisions based on emotion. And then they will justify that purchase after the fact on logic. So think about that. If you are coming from a point on your sales funnels and your sales copy, whatever you're doing, if it's face-to-face sales, one-on-one, if you're coming at somebody from a logical point of view, you're going to have much less success. And there will be those who that appeals to, but the majority of people, it will not. So you're going to have a smaller margin of success and a much larger one if you appeal to their emotional side. Generally, it's a pain point. If you can find out what their pain points are and remind them of that pain that they are in before, and show them how you're going to move them from that pain to a desired result, you're going to be much more successful. So think about that. You need to stop trying to sell people what they need. And I can use an example. When I was a personal trainer, I could come to somebody, everybody that came in knew they needed, or not everybody, but most of the people I met with knew they needed to eat better, exercise more, lose weight. They knew they needed these things. But what was it that they really wanted? Because the need to get healthy, the need to lose 20 pounds. Well, yes, that was important, but that was just logical. They knew I've got to do this. But when you drill down a little deeper, why do you want to lose 10 pounds? Well, the doctor told me to. Well, why did the doctor tell you to? Why did you decide to come in after they told you that? Well, I knew I just wasn't fitting in my clothes as well anymore. And then you just keep drilling down the why, and then the why. And then eventually it comes to something like, I have a family history of heart disease. My parents were overweight, and I don't want to be like that. And you could ask them why again, and it might even go farther, like, well, I don't have the energy to play with my children. And I remember growing up, my parents were overweight. They never played with me. And now as a parent, I've got a young child and I want to have that energy. I want to be vital. I want to be able to play, have energy after school, after work, to enjoy my child and spend time being present with my child. So as you dig down deeper and deeper, you really start hitting on emotional points, pain points. That's what's going to get your sales numbers up, because you would then be appealing to something that they want. They want to overcome that pain that they are in when they think about when they were younger and their parents didn't play with them, and they don't want to be like that. They want to be able to play with their child and have the energy. But they need to lose 10 pounds to get there. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And I want to give you another tip real quick. This is something that I've learned as well. A lot of times, people will buy something immediately from you, and then when they try to justify it logically, they may convince themselves that what they did was they bought on emotion and they don't want it now. And so they ask for their money back. So if they can't justify the purchase after the fact based on logic, a lot of times you'll have people come back to you asking for their money back. One way to get over this obstacle is in the beginning in your sales messaging, when you're pitching to them and trying to get them to buy based on emotion, you appeal to their emotions, their pain and pleasure. You're in pain now. I'm going to do this to get you to pleasure. This is what it's going to be like once you reach this position. Think about how much pain it's going to be if you don't take action. Appealing to their emotion. Then they purchase. Then on the next page, the thank you page, after they've purchased, you have a nice video there that then appeals to their logical side. You made a great decision to buy this. Other people who have purchased this have lost 10 pounds, have found themselves no longer having to take medication, have found themselves, being able to play with their kids and have more energy. So you start putting some things in there that they see, oh, well, yes, I guess I did. They can then say, logically, I did make the right decision because there is proof from these other people that it works. So you hit them with that welcome video on the thank you page, appealing to their logical side. It will reduce the amount of people that have that buyer's remorse and immediately reach back out wanting a refund. So there's a second tip for you. So once again, just think about this. People buy based on emotion, then they justify that purchase based on logic after the fact. People buy what they want, not what they need. So sell people what they want, even though you're 100% sure that they need it. Everybody have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Listen, everybody, I just want to say thank you and tell you how much I really, really appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to listen to the podcast. I want to ask you a favor. If you get value from this, if you enjoy it, please make sure to subscribe. Go to iTunes, whatever the app is you use, subscribe to the podcast, and definitely please leave us a rating or a review. If you can do it on iTunes, that would be awesome. But anywhere that you listen to the podcast, if you could just leave us a rating and a review, we would really appreciate it. And also, if you ever want to get in touch with me, I'm easy to find. You can find me on social media, but you can also send me a direct email. It's Evans, EVANS, at ppepodcast.com. That's Evans at ppepodcast.com. Send us in your questions. Send us in any topics you want me to cover, anything at all. Just send me an email and say, hey, I love hearing from all of you and I appreciate every one of you. Thanks for being an avid listener.